This video is sponsored by Skillshare. So this is the iPhone 12, Apple's 2020 release that was actually pretty popular due to Apple bringing back a fan favorite squared off design. And here is the iPhone 13, the replacement of that phone that was released in 2021, the mini variant of which was actually one of my favorite phones of the year. So this begs the question, seeing as you can still buy both new, but the iPhone 12 is significantly cheaper, which of these phones is right for you personally in 2022? Let's find out. First of all, as usual, let's start off with the specs. The iPhone 12 features an Apple A14 processor, whereas the iPhone 13 features the Apple A15 processor. Both do feature 4GB of RAM, and while it may not look like a huge difference here, we are going to be talking more in terms of performance later on. Both do come with variable storage options. However, the iPhone 12 starts at 64GB and then goes up to 128 and 256GB, whereas the iPhone 13 actually starts at 128GB, going through 256 and topping out at 512GB. The iPhone 12 weighs in at 164 grams, whereas the iPhone 13 weighs in ever so slightly heavier, but not noticeably so, 174 grams. Both do come with different color options, including black, white, and blue on both, along with some more fun, unique colors available on each version respectively. As for specs, that's pretty much it. Anybody who has watched one of these videos before will know that I like to keep this section short, so while there is going to be a couple more specs later on, that's pretty much it for now. Okay, so next up we have design, build quality, and button layout. Both do feature that squared off design with a 7000 series aluminium bezel on both, a glass back, and of course that new ceramic shield technology on the front panel. Ceramic shield will help protect your phone from cracks, which is nice, as iPhones have always been pretty susceptible to those in the past, so it's always nice to get a little bit of extra protection on your phone. In my experience, this generally has worked pretty well, and while an incredibly hard drop did break a previous iPhone 12 of mine, that's the only experience that I've ever personally had where this technology has not worked. You may have also noticed that the camera arrangement was moved around from the iPhone 12 to the iPhone 13, and I've actually found that it is a little bit wider as well, so if you're coming from an iPhone 12 to the iPhone 13, you will unfortunately need to buy a new case. Both do feature an IP68 water resistance rating. However, the iPhone 12 can survive in up to 6 meters of water for 30 minutes, whereas the iPhone 13 can survive in up to 8 meters of water for 30 minutes. Both of these are significantly deeper than they sound. Seriously, 8 meters is a lot. In terms of button layout, well, they're identical. Both do feature separate volume up and down buttons, an isolated lock button, and a mute switch. And honestly, I kind of think it's a positive that not that much has changed. Your muscle memory does get used to where all of the buttons are on your phone, and so you would have a pretty big adjustment period if the button layout changed with every new phone that was released. In terms of the actual buttons, both sets are really nice and tactile, and on the squared off designs, I've actually found myself taking significantly less accidental screenshots. For me, that's definitely a positive. Overall, very impressed with the build and design on these things. Personally, I've had no issues with either, and whether or not you like the new camera replacement is up to you. Next up, we have the screen, but before we get into that, quickly, a word from this video's sponsor, Skillshare. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, the online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. I initially joined Skillshare as I wanted to improve my productivity, but I quickly found out that there's tons of different excellent classes. Your day-to-day is filled with tasks and endless to-do lists, so prioritize your self-care and wellness by using Skillshare as a way to invest in yourself, unwind, and relax. Classes like the Ultimate Self-Care Playbook by Jonathan Van Ness, Plants at Home by Plant Queen, and Writing for Self-Discovery will help you recenter after a hectic week. I have personally found that the Ultimate Self-Care Playbook by Jonathan Van Ness has helped me personally improve my self-care and actually added a good deal of value to my life. Skillshare is ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're exploring new skills. There's new premium classes launched every week, so there's always something new to discover, and the entire catalog is now available with subtitles in French, Spanish, Portuguese, and German. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Once again, a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and helping to support the channel. Check out Skillshare in the link below. Up next, next, we have the screen. Both phones do feature a Super Retina XDR, OLED, HDR10 Dolby Vision certified display with a resolution of 1170 by 2532. As I said, both do have that ceramic shield technology, both have a wide color gamut, and honestly, the only thing that I've noticed that has changed is the non-HDR peak brightness on the iPhone 13 is 800 nits versus 625 on the iPhone 12, and I'm gonna be honest, this is actually kind of disappointing. Now, don't get me wrong, the screens are phenomenal. The iPhone 12 and the iPhone 13 subsequently both have fantastic screens. However, I would have liked to see an upgrade coming from the iPhone 12 to the iPhone 13. Promotion for me, not for thee. Apparently I'm an iPhone 13 Pro now. What? Both screens do look totally excellent watching videos on them or just looking at pictures. Both look absolutely fantastic. But again, I do wish we had a bit more of an upgrade on the iPhone 13 side of things. Both of course do feature True Tone to keep your colors nice and natural, along with haptic touch as the secondary interaction method. Overall, as I said, while I personally do like the panel on both of these phones, I would certainly like to have seen more of an upgrade to the iPhone 13. Another area where there's really not much of an upgrade, but to be honest, I'm less bothered about, is the Face ID. Now, this is because the Face ID on the iPhone 12 and subsequently iPhone 13 is fantastic. Probably the best face unlock system I've ever used. It's fast, it's accurate, it works in all lighting conditions, and it works from plenty of different angles. As I said, there hasn't really been that much of an upgrade to this technology ever since the release of, well, the iPhone 11, but honestly, this is such a fantastic Face ID system. I honestly struggle to see it improving. Now, that doesn't mean it won't, it almost definitely will, but as to what we've currently got, in my opinion, it's probably the best around. Now, it would be nice to have a secondary biometrics unlock method, but overall, very few complaints here. Next up, we have my favorite section, the camera. While it may look like it's basically the same, especially with the specs, both featuring a 12 megapixel dual camera system, the wide angle on both being f1.6, the ultra wide being f2.4, and the front facing being f2.2, there are actually some pretty noticeable differences between the two. For one, the sensor on the iPhone 13's main camera is actually said to capture 47% more light, and there's even more changes under the hood. So, let's take a look at some photos. In terms of photos, I've actually been very impressed with both. Both are really nice and sharp with great dynamic range, great colors, and in general, well-lit situations. I do think both are phenomenal. The ultra-wide is always nice to have, especially for some big, huge sweeping landscapes that I am a really big fan of. And of course, both do have portrait mode to help you get that blurred out DSLR-like background. Now, in terms of night mode, I have actually noticed that while still great on the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13's main camera is actually slightly better in low light. However, due to the fact that night mode is available on all cameras, honestly, on everything but the wide camera, I still think night mode is pretty crappy, to be honest. So, in an updated version of this line of iPhone, like the iPhone 14, I want to see a drastic improvement to night mode on not just the wide angle, but all of the lenses. Selfies on both phones do look nice, both have great dynamic range, sharpness, and most importantly, great colors, so I don't really see many issues here. In terms of video mode, both phones do shoot in 4K at up to 60 FPS, with some of the best stabilization I've ever seen on a phone. Both also do feature Dolby Vision HDR. However, the iPhone 13 lets you get this technology in up to 60 FPS, whereas the iPhone 12 lets you get this technology in up to 30 FPS. And this is actually a really cool technology. It gets you more dynamic range out of your videos, and I honestly think this is a really cool addition. Both, of course, do shoot slow motion 1080p in up to 240 FPS on both, and this is nice for some good, fun slow motion. Just don't expect professional level quality. The iPhone 13 does also feature that new cinematic mode, and completely honestly, as of 2022, I'm pretty unimpressed by this technology. As someone who loves focus pulls and has been wanting this portrait mode for video technology for ever, it's locked to 1080p 30 FPS. To be fair though, I am glad this technology exists. It does mean that it is going to be developed on later, but as of right now, it's not that great. Overall, the cameras on both are pretty fantastic. However, I do certainly think the iPhone 13 pulls ahead in terms of the video side of things, and just ever so slightly in terms of the photo side of things. Now, that doesn't mean that the iPhone 12 doesn't have a phenomenal camera, because it does, but nevertheless, I do still think the iPhone 13 13 is the winner here. Following on, we have OS and app performance, which I actually think is probably the most important aspect of the modern smartphone. These phones are both running iOS 15, and honestly, it runs great on both. Scrolling through menus, opening up apps, and performing secondary interactions are all flawless. However, due to its newer release, I do personally have more faith in the iPhone 13 staying good for longer. In terms of more intensive performance, watching videos on both is absolutely stunning. Again, due to the fantastic screens that both have, watching 4K videos or HDR videos both look phenomenal, and I've never had any issues on either. In terms of gaming, I do have to give this one to the iPhone 13. The A15 processor is more powerful, so it is better for gaming. However, I've never personally noticed any issues with the iPhone 12 when playing Apple Arcade games, which is my preferred way of mobile gaming. However, I also think in terms of gaming performance, the iPhone 13 will keep this up for longer. However, as of now, both are fantastic, and I have no complaints about performance on either. After this, we have these speakers. Both phones feature a stereo speaker configuration using both the front and the main speaker to create a louder, wider sound. Both do get decently loud, and while neither will be perfect for any serious audio editing, for some casual listening while watching a video, both will do absolutely fine. And finally, as always, we have the battery life. The iPhone 12 features a battery size of 2,815 milliamp hours, whereas the iPhone 13 actually features a battery size of 3,240 milliamp hours. Personally, both get me through my day just fine. However, I do think the iPhone 13 is significantly better. I'm not particularly sure as to why Apple decided to put a battery size smaller than that of the iPhone 11 into the iPhone 12, especially with the massive improvements to the screen on this phone. So while I can almost always get through my day with the iPhone 12, I know that I'm going to get through the day with the iPhone 13. And because of the nature of batteries, while I can get through my day with the iPhone 12, I would have more faith in the iPhone 13's battery getting me through my day for longer than I would with the iPhone 12's battery. Honestly, that's kind of the message with these phones. If you want something that's going to stay good for longer and the better battery life, then the iPhone 13 might be worth taking a look at. However, if you want the best bang for your buck and to get the new design, an excellent camera, and an excellent screen, then you might want to consider the iPhone 12. Alright guys, so that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know, by the way, which of these phones do you prefer? Do you prefer the iPhone 13? Do you prefer the iPhone 12? Do you prefer something different entirely? Feel free to let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading those. As for now though, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.